The rain hammered against the windows of our little cottage in the Cotswolds, mimicking the storm brewing inside me. Alaric, a 46-year-old software engineer, had always considered myself a logical man, a man of systems and solutions. But nothing in my carefully constructed world could have prepared me for the chaos that was about to erupt. It started subtly, a flicker of unease that I initially dismissed as stress. My wife, Bronte, a vibrant and talented artist, had always been the sun in my sky, her laughter the melody to my otherwise methodical life. But lately, the laughter had faded, replaced by a quiet distance that chilled me to the bone. Bronte started working late at her studio in Burton-on-the-Water, claiming a surge of commissions. I, ever the supportive husband, made her dinners, packed her lunches, and ensured she had everything she needed to pursue her passion. Looking back, I was a fool, blinded by love and a naive trust that I now knew was tragically misplaced. The first real crack appeared on a Tuesday. Bronte had told me she had a gallery opening in Stow-on-the-Wold, a prestigious event she'd been working towards for months. I was excited for her, planned to wear my best suit, and even bought a bouquet of her favorite lilies. But when I arrived at the gallery, clutching the flowers, I was met with an empty space, the lights off, and a handwritten sign on the door, "Closed for renovations." A cold dread washed over me. I tried calling Bronte, but her phone went straight to voicemail. "I'm in a meeting," her robotic voice echoed. "Leave a message." A meeting. At a gallery that was closed, my mind raced, conjuring up increasingly improbable explanation, desperate to cling to the belief that there was a reasonable explanation. I drove home, the lilies wilting in the passenger seat, my heart heavier than lead. Bronte wasn't there. The house was silent, devoid of her usual vibrant energy. I sat in the living room, staring at the fireplace, the unanswered questions swirling around me like a suffocating fog. Hours later, I heard the key in the lock. Bronte walked in, her face flushed, her hair slightly disheveled. "Alaric, you're home early," she said, her voice a little too bright, a little too forced. "The gallery was closed," I said, the words hanging in the air like a death sentence. The sign said renovations. Bronte's eyes widened, a flicker of panic crossing her face. "Oh, that," she stammered. They moved it to a different location, a private showing." "A private showing that you didn't tell me about?" I asked, my voice dangerously low. She avoided my gaze, busying herself with taking off her coat. "It was a last-minute thing, really. I was going to tell you later." I wanted to believe her. God, how I wanted to believe her. But the lie was etched on her face, as clear as the lines on my palm. "Who was it with, Bronte?" I asked, the question tearing itself from my throat. She recoiled as if I'd struck her. "What are you talking about? Don't insult my intelligence," I said, my voice rising. "Who were you with tonight? Who have you been with these past few weeks when you've been working late?" She burst into tears, a performance I now recognized as a well-rehearsed tactic. "You're being ridiculous." "I would never what, Bronte? Never betray me, never lie to me, never break the vows you made." The tears stopped as abruptly as they had started. She looked at me, her eyes cold and hard. "Maybe I'm just tired of this," she said, her voice devoid of emotion. "Tired of the quiet life, tired of being predictable. Maybe I need something more." Her words hit me like a physical blow, stealing the air from my lungs. More than what we have, more than the love we shared." "Love," she scoffed. "That's a fairy tale, Alaric. A naive fantasy. I need excitement, passion, something real." I stared at her, the woman I had loved and cherished for over 20 years, and saw a stranger. A cold, selfish stranger who had shattered my world with a few callous words. "Who is he?" I asked, the question barely a whisper. She hesitated, then sighed. "His name is Jasper. He's a colleague at the studio." Jasper, the young, arrogant sculptor who had joined her studio a few months ago. I had met him a few times, dismissed him as a harmless admirer. How wrong I had been. The next few days were a blur of pain and disbelief. I moved into the spare room, unable to bear being in the same bed as her. I barely ate, barely slept, haunted by the image of Bronte in Jasper's arms. I considered confronting Jasper, but what would that achieve? He was just a symptom of a deeper problem. The problem was Bronte, the woman I thought I knew, the woman who had betrayed me in the most profound way imaginable. I needed proof, not just for myself, but for the inevitable divorce proceedings. I couldn't let her walk away with half of everything we had built together, not after what she had done. I hired a private investigator, a discreet and professional woman named Ingrid. I told her everything, my voice cracking with emotion, my hands trembling with anger. She listened patiently, her expression sympathetic but detached. Ingrid worked quickly and efficiently. Within a week, she presented me with a thick envelope filled with photographs and documents. The evidence was irrefutable. Bronte and Jasper, holding hands, kissing, entering a hotel together. The dates and times meticulously recorded. I felt a surge of rage so intense that I thought I might explode. I wanted to scream, to break things, to inflict the same pain on them that they had inflicted on me. But I knew that wouldn't solve anything. I needed to be smart, strategic, calculating. I decided to play the long game. I wouldn't confront Bronte with the evidence just yet. I would let her continue her charade, let her believe she was getting away with it. I would gather my resources, prepare my legal strategy, and wait for the perfect moment to strike. I started documenting everything. Every lie, every inconsistency, every suspicious phone call. I consulted with a lawyer, a sharp and experienced woman named Isolde, who advised me to remain calm and collected, to avoid any emotional outbursts that could jeopardize my case. It was agonizing, living a lie, pretending that everything was normal. But I knew it was necessary. I had to protect myself, to protect my future. Bronte had shown me that she was capable of anything, that she was willing to sacrifice everything for her own selfish desires. I couldn't afford to underestimate her. One evening, Bronte came into the spare room, her expression contrite. "Alaric," she said, her voice soft, "can we talk?" I looked at her, my heart hardening with each passing second. "About what, Bronte? About how you've been lying to me for months? About how you've been sleeping with another man? About how you've destroyed our marriage?" She flinched as if I had slapped her. "I know I've made mistakes," she said, her voice trembling. "But I still love you, Alaric. I want to make things right." I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. "Love, you don't even know the meaning of the word. You're a selfish, manipulative liar, and I want you out of my life." I handed her the envelope that Ingrid had given me, the photographs spilling out onto the floor. Bronte stared at them, her face draining of color. "Where did you get these?" she whispered. "It doesn't matter," I said. "What matters is that I know the truth. And the truth is you're a cheat and I'm done with you." She started to cry, a torrent of tears that failed to move me. "Please, Alaric," she begged. "Give me another chance. I'll do anything. It's too late." "Bronte," I said, my voice cold and final. "You had your chance. You blew it." The divorce was swift and brutal. With the evidence I had gathered, Bronte had no choice but to concede. She tried to negotiate, to minimize the damage, but Isolde was relentless. Bronte walked away with nothing but her clothes and her art supplies. I felt a sense of satisfaction, but it was a hollow victory. The pain of her betrayal still lingered, a dull ache in my chest. I knew it would take time to heal, to trust again, to believe in love. But I was determined to move on, to rebuild my life, to find happiness again. I sold the cottage in the Cotswolds, a place that now held only painful memories. I moved to London, a vibrant and exciting city where I could start fresh. I threw myself into my work, developing new software, exploring new technologies. I reconnected with old friends, made new ones, and started to rediscover the joy in life. One evening, I was at a gallery opening in Shoreditch, admiring the work of a young and talented artist. As I was leaving, I saw a familiar figure standing in the corner, looking lost and forlorn. It was Jasper. He saw me, his face paling. He tried to avoid me, but I blocked his path. "Jasper," I said, my voice calm but firm. "How are you?" he stammered. "I am fine, just looking at the art." "Really?" I said, raising an eyebrow. "Or are you looking for Bronte?" He looked down, shamefaced. She left me," he said, "after the divorce. Said she was bored with me." I felt a flicker of satisfaction, a sense of karmic justice. "Well, Jasper," I said, "it seems you got exactly what you deserved." I walked away, leaving him standing there, alone and defeated. I didn't feel any pity for him. He was just a pawn in Bronte's game, a victim of her selfishness and ambition. As I walked out into the London night, I felt a sense of closure. I had survived Bronte's betrayal, I had rebuilt my life, and I had found a measure of peace. The rain had stopped and the stars were shining brightly in the sky. I knew that the future was uncertain, but I was ready to face it, stronger and wiser than before. Years later, I received a letter. It was from Bronte. She was living in a small village in France working as a waitress. She wrote about her regrets, her mistakes, her loneliness. She asked for my forgiveness. I didn't reply. Some wounds are too deep to heal, some betrayals too profound to forgive. I had moved on, and I wasn't going to let her drag me back into the darkness. I had learned a valuable lesson. That love is not always enough. That trust can be broken. That even the people closest to you can betray you in the most unimaginable ways. But I had also learned that I was stronger than I thought, that I could survive anything, and that happiness was still possible, even after the most devastating heartbreak. I eventually found love again with a woman who valued honesty, loyalty, and mutual respect. We built a life together, a life filled with laughter, adventure, and unwavering support. I never forgot Bronte, but her betrayal no longer defined me. It was just a chapter in my life, a painful reminder of the past, but not the blueprint for my future.